Yes. Good afternoon and welcome to the ordinary meeting of the Wellington Shire Council on Tuesday the 2nd of March 2021, commencing at 3 p.m. Firstly, the council meeting information. Members of the public gallery should note that the council records and publishes council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will also be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors and councillors ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in the silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Now we have the Acknowledgement of Country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Gunai people, and pay respects to their elders, past and present. And the prayer. Almighty God, we ask your blessing upon the Wellington Shire Council, its councillors, officers, staff and their families. We pray for your guidance in our decisions so that the true good of the Wellington Shire Council may result to the benefit of all residents and community groups. Amen. The next item, councils, is apologies, and there are no apologies today. Next, declaration of conflicts of interest, and I believe there are no conflicts of interest. No. Next is the confirmation of minutes of the previous council meeting. Do I have a mover?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary council meeting of 16 February 2021.
Thank you, Councillor Rossetti. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Marr, thank you. Any objection to that? None. Declare those minutes duly carried. Thank you. Next item is the business arising from previous minutes. We have nothing at the moment. There's no acceptance of late and urgent items that I'm aware of. We have no notices of motion. There are no new petitions, or in fact outstanding petitions at this time. Next item is invited addresses, presentations and acknowledgements. Councillor Holt.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've got two acknowledgements. First one, last Sunday in Maffra, the Riviera Triathlon Club ran a very, very successful event in Wellington Shire. It was the second time it had been organised. It was great to see that from about 4 years of age up to middle 50s, there was events for everybody, and that the little fellas in the 4s to 7s age group were on their little bikes pedalling like hell to get to the 100-metre sprint. Brought joy to everybody. There was probably about 400 people there. The weather was great. On behalf of Wellington Council, I had the responsibility or the opportunity of presenting the medallions to all the winners. But when you first got there, the feeling of excitement was terrific, and everybody had a thoroughly enjoyable day. One of the nice things that happened, and because it was a fairly warm day, one of the things that happened at the end while everybody was collating who won what, whatever, the gate between the tennis courts where this thing was conducted in the swimming pool, with the compliments of Wellington Shire, there was a free swim, and suddenly 400 kids, suddenly there was about 15 or 16, they're all in the pool. So yeah, it was nice to be a participant on that day and represent Wellington. The other thing I'd like to bring up last Thursday night, and it's in the The Gippsland Times today, the Hayfield community embraces innovative microgrid project. For those who are not aware of it, Hayfield once again is looking to be a leader in the environmental world that we're now entering into, and looking to establish its own electricity supply based on the sort of format that the community banks are operating on. To make a profit, but profit goes back into the community. Already several businesses have pledged or have already put solar panels on their roofs of their buildings. One of the industrial crowds or industries in Hayfield has allocated or promised the use of quite a substantial bit of land if they want to make a solar farm there. It's gathering speed because it's brought together so many people in various sections of the energy generation via the sun into a formidable posse. And in fact now $1.8 million was given by the University Institute of Sydney, because they see this as the forerunner for many other places around Australia. And once again, it jogs my memory, and a lot of you will remember the fact that in the early days of conservation, saving energy, Hayfield, you ran the three flags, where you had your white, your green and your blue flag, depending on what stage your building or how home had been converted to. And that attracted worldwide attention. In fact, the Japanese sent out a television crew who filmed the entire proceeds, and that was put on those remote channels that you plug into wherever you're sitting around the world, and that created an enormous amount of interest. And well, we'd like to think that it brought people to Hayfield, or actually brought them to Wellington so they could see Hayfield. And now this is the next stage in the conservation. The town's very lucky; it's got a couple of good drivers, and down the track I think we're going to see some marvellous results come from this. It isn't going to happen overnight, but knowing the people from Hayfield who are driving it, it will happen. Thanks, mate.
There. Thank you, Councillor Rossetti, for your technical assistance. Appreciate that. Then, thank you. Yes. The next item on the agenda is questions on notice. There are no questions on notice. Next item, report of delegates. Councillor Hull.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Last Thursday last week, Timber Towns Victoria had a statewide meeting by the Teams technology, and I think all councils that are members were represented. We were represented by Mark Coleman and myself. It was a very interesting meeting, and there's, like us here with our timber task force, concerns right across the state as to the future of the timber industry in Victoria. And I'm talking not only just hardwood but also softwood. The demand is far outstripping what's being planted, and the future for the timber industry is not looking good. The current government, as we all know, put up $120 million about 3 years ago to encourage or to regenerate the plantation of timber. They must have the money in the bank to earning interest, because so far we haven't seen too many trees planted. I'll just deal with the little dot points that come out of it. In January, Deb Kerr was named as the inaugural Victorian Forest Products Association CEO, and she's going to be invited to the next Timber Towns meeting. And as we're probably well aware, the timber industry is huge in all the various groups that is probably called self-interest groups, and this is hopefully we're going to bring everybody under the one ladder. One of the new major projects that has been just about organised, but it's been down in the Green Triangle at Mount Gambier, and it's going to be producing the CLT and GLT building units. And for those of you who are not too sure what they are, it's cross-laminated timber, and it's replacing concrete in building. They're up to about 20 odd stories high now. It's easy stuff to deal with. You can manufacture it overnight, deliver it, and the workmen go to work with a little power drill and drill screws and stuff in and build these huge complexes. So we've got one of those in Victoria. We did try to get one in Hayfield many years ago. Didn't quite get off the ground because the one we chose ended up going to Albury. But it's good to see that it's starting to get some more of that jobs creation around the country. The industry has renewed and strengthened its campaign to fight the Victorian government's logging bans, and what has been produced, and I haven't read it, I've only just got it this morning, 61 or 66 page document, the government logging strategy to go out on behalf of the hardwood industry and supporting our own timber task force. The interesting thing that for some reason they obviously haven't got any pens down in the government, because Timber Towns have written to the Minister and also to Minister Lily D'Ambrosio, and at this stage we're now ready to do the second letter because the first ones haven't been replied to, and so there's a little bit of deja vu, I suppose, when we look at what we've done. I think we're up to about 3 letters, and well, they say the post is slow, but we don't think it's quite that slow. Anyway, there was a lot more stuff came out. It was a fairly long meeting for the afternoon, and the upshot of it is that the Timber Towns Victoria is going out to take jobs in regional Victoria, and to try and get a different mindset in the government that the timber, even if it's planted now, hardwood won't be ready for about 60 to 80 years, and pine, the structural pine won't be ready for at least 25, and the government wants to close down the hardwood industry in 10 years' time, or 9 years' time now, and by then the softwood will just about be all gone too. So we've got problems. So that's the report now.
Yes, thank you very much for the comprehensive report, Councillor Holt. The next item on the council agenda is the General Manager Corporate Services Assembly of Councillors. So someone to, yes, Councillor Wood, thank you. A seconder?
Could you move the motion, please?
I beg your pardon?
You shut this down and just read the move the motion. Move the motion.
Yes.
Jill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, just stand up. Yes,
I
Councillor.
move that the council note and receive the attached assembly of councillor records for the period 7 December 2020 to 24 January 2021.
No, I think it's
If this says up there, Councillor, just amend your date.
Oh,
just
sorry.
different dates, sorry, Councillor Wood.
Yeah, it's the 8th of February 2021 to the 21st of February 2021.
Yeah, thank you. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Boyle. Thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion? Not. Declare it carried. Councillor Wood.
Section 80A of the Local Government Act 1989 required a written record to be kept of all assemblies of councillors, stating the names of all councillors and council staff attending, matters considered and any conflict of interest disclosures made by the councillor. These records were required to be reported at an ordinary meeting of the council and recorded in minutes. Under the new Local Government Act 2020, this requirement is no longer provided for. However, under Council's good governance framework, Council will continue to provide records of assemblies of councillors to ensure that the community are kept informed of councillors' activity and participation.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Wood. Next item on the agenda is the General Manager of Built and Natural Environment. Item 12.1 is Abels Road and Boyle Road, Longford, Special Charge Scheme, Street Scheme, Construction Scheme, the declaration of the scheme. We have a mover. Thank you, Councillor
Thanks,
Boyle.
Mayor. I'd like to move that Council 1, having considered no submissions were received and taken account that no objections were lodged and having complied with requirements of sections 163A, 163B and 223 of the Local Government Act 1989, the Act, and otherwise according to law, and having so far as can be ascertained from available records can reasonably be concluded that ascertain that Abels Road and Boyle Road, Longford, which is the street, or any component of the street, has not previously been constructed by way of a special rate or charge, hereby proceeds to declare a special charge scheme under section 163(1) of the Act 5 or the scheme, in accordance with the declaration of special charge declaration attached to and forming a part of this report. Such declaration being for the purpose of constructing the street and providing all and ancillary works including surface drainage and vehicle crossings. And Mayor, I'd like to say item 2, 3 and 4 as read. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Boyle. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Marr. Is there any opposition to that motion? No, if not, I'll declare it carried. Councillor Boyle.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I'm very pleased to speak on this motion. People mightn't believe, but there is 1,514 kilometres of sealed roads in the Wellington Shire, but we still have 1,566 kilometres of unsealed roads. What this scheme is, we've been approached by the residents that live on these two streets, and it's a continuation from Bogger Creek Road. Abels Road goes around to the South Gippsland Highway, and then we have Boyle Road, which shoots off that. So what this is it's a sealing of the road. So we had the residents come to us. There is 15 residents that want to go ahead with the scheme, and there was 2 residents that didn't reply. So 88% of the residents would like to undertake the scheme, which is sealing 1.450 of a kilometre of road. So it's a kilometre and a half that will now come off our unsealed roads and go on our sealed roads, which is a great scheme that we can do. What it means is that 6.2 metre width will be paved instead of having a gravel road that is very dusty for the residents. We will seal the road. We'll do curbing at intersections, table drains, driving culverts and sealing of vehicle crossings. So this is another example of Wellington Shire residents coming together, coming to council and putting forward to actually seal the road. It's a $430,000 project, which isn't a small project, but the owners of the properties are contributing $61,200 and council is doing $368,800. So a great initiative by the council and well received by the residents. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Boyle. Item 12.2 is a tender for the Toongabbie, Cowwarr and Weir Road Reconstruction and Widening project. Thank you, Councillor Cosley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report of the Council meeting agenda for contract 2021-041 Toongabbie, Cowwarr and Weir Roads Reconstruction and Widening, and 2, the information contained in the confidential attached contract 2021-041 Toongabbie, Cowwarr and Weir Roads Construction and Widening, and designated confidential under section 3 1. Confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020 by the General Manager, Built and Natural Environment on the 22nd of February 2021, because it relates to the following grounds: private commercial information being information provided by a business, commercial or financial undertaking that is released that if released would unreasonably expose the business, commercial or financial undertaking to disadvantage. Be designated confidential information under Section 3(1) Confidential Information of Local Government Act 2020, except that once this recommendation has been adopted, the name of the successful tenderer can be made public.
Thank you, Councillor Crossley. Do I have a seconder? Oh, Councillor Boyle, thank you. Is there any opposition to that motion? If not, I'm happy to declare it carried. Councillor Crossley?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillors. As Councillor Boyle was saying, we have a very large asset of sealed and unsealed roads, and these roads need renewal and reconstruction. This particular section road, 3.7 kilometres, is a shared asset because it's on a boundary with Latrobe City Council, and we actually manage it, but it's the cost of the maintenance, and this works will be shared but equally between the two shires. Having used that road quite frequently, it's a section that is really required to be widened, because basically to pass an oncoming vehicle you have to get off the road. So I'm sure the community that use that road will be very pleased of this works. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Crossley. And I'm pleased to announce that the successful tenderer for this project is Whelan's Investment Group Proprietary Limited. So that's well done. Next item is the General Manager, Community and Culture, is item 13.1, the adoption of the Community Engagement Strategy 2021. Do I have a mover for that motion, please? Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that for Council to approve the Community Engagement Strategy 2021 and Community Engagement Policy as the key drivers of Council's engagement practices.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Crossley. Is there any opposition to that motion? If not, I'm pleased to declare it carried. Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an important strategy and framework for how Council aims to interact with its community well into the future. And it's in two parts. One is the deliberative engagement, which is based on authentic engagement with the community, good representation of the community in engagement activities, clear demonstration on how all views will be considered, and accessible and relevant information available to the community to ensure the decision-making process and the community's level of influence is clear in each instance and that participants are fully informed. As for the strategy, it provides to give a strength of representation in decision-making, ensure that the community understands how, when and why they can expect staff to engage with them on issues of importance to them. And importantly, it shows that from a council point of view, as our motto is, that there will be no surprises. The community impact of this strategy will provide the community with a voice and build relationships with council. It will be successfully deliver of the strategy and policy by community engagement process. As said before, will strengthen the community engagement and decision making, give the community more opportunity to understand and have a voice. It will support the Wellington staff in doing their job and communicating with the council, with the community, and will provide a framework for all council staff to operate under the same set of guidelines and principles, thereby improving consistency and understanding of the community engagement process. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. Now, the next item is the further gallery and online comments. I think I'm confident saying there's no gallery comments. Are there any online comments, Mr. CEO?
Sorry, President.
There is one.
I'm aware of that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. CEO.
Thanks, Mayor. We have received an online comment from Shirley Mowat in Sale, and I'll read her comment out, Mayor. My question is concerning the sad state of the Port of Sale Canal and River. The Port of Sale Canal and River is currently being choked by weed, making access to and from the port difficult to navigate. As a current berth holder of the port, it is disturbing to see the weed currently moving and covering the surface of the port and canal. As a promoter to visit Sale and view the canal, take a scenic ride down the river in the Robina, it is not promoting a healthy site, but an embarrassment for visitors to see. I welcome your comments and actions to overcome this problem. Mayor, we'll take that on notice. We'll also provide an answer which we'll copy to all councillors, including providing to Shirley, the state government authority who's primarily responsible for the health of waterways. So we'll circulate that within 7 days.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Now, I don't believe there was any need to go into closed session. There is. Yeah, there is. Just so, all right. So, at this stage, can I have someone move that we go into closed session, please? Councillor Mackenzie, thank you very much.
Do you want to do it?
So that's, you need to just, can you just read that? I think it's for personal, it's for item F, isn't it? Is that? Yes. So can you just move that, Councillor Mackenzie? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. In closed session, we wish the meeting to be closed to the public pursuant to section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider matters under section 66(5)(b) as defined by section 3(1)(b). Personal information. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wood, thank you. Is there any opposition to that? I'll declare that carried, and we'll move into closed session. Thank you.